I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for Life in the UK test part 355, other ways to volunteer. While doing Pilates leg training, and if you participate in a Pilates leg training, what is that your arm leg? We're starting with the first exercise, the Shishiyo Doshi. We are bringing one leg long out with a flexed foot. We're tipping onto the floor, and we're lifting it up and again down. Looking after the that is the next chapter. Other ways to volunteer. Volunteering is working for good causes without payment. Volunteering is working for good causes without payment. It means, in the first place, that it's freely done voluntarily. Yes, you also get no money, but there are... Okay, so volunteering is working for good causes without payment. There are many benefits to volunteering. Money isn't one of them, such as meeting new people and helping make your community a better place. Would it maybe an idea to give a little payment? Just a very... Maybe it will go on in the way to with the labor rights, with the rights of laborers, but if it's just enough to survive, basically. So that some volunteer activities will give you a chance to practice your English or develop work skills that will help you find a job or improve your curriculum vitae. Who do they think we are? To practice our English. Many people volunteer simply because they want to help other people. So, what did they tell us here? Volunteering is working for good causes without payment. So, people can volunteer when they're getting no money, but we're getting other things. For example, can we meet new people? Friendship is more worthwhile than money oftentimes. And it also helps to make the community a better place. Some volunteer activities will give you a chance to practice your English, or to develop work skills that will help you find a job or improve your curriculum vitae. Develop work skills. Yes, but some jobs we're making that 2 minutes with one exercise for one leg. We're changing the leg. There are jobs where you interact with people and where you can improve your work skills. Now, having that picture is not really improving work skills, I think. I don't know if you learn that much. You can certainly learn some motivational things, so mindset things. So you can learn English because you're speaking with other people who are speaking English. And because it's done in the local community, you maybe also get more familiar with the local accent. And it looks good in the curriculum vitae or for many people, I can't guarantee that. But for some people, and maybe also people don't like English, it looks broadly by most people seen as something good if you did for a couple of months some volunteer job and we're cleaning the environment. So the advantages are listed here in the intro. Now we're changing the leg and we're doing another exercise, the Helferma. We're having a long leg out with a flexed foot and we're bending it at the knee and we're straightening it again. You don't get payment, but you can voluntarily do volunteer work for a good cause, so it's doing something for a good cause. Because other people have thrown it in the first place into the wilderness. And you can learn a bit English, you can develop some work skills. It looks good in your curriculum vitae, in your CV. So you write, I was doing when that, and then you write, when I picked for 3 months rubbish. Or also many people volunteer simply because they want to help other people. Some people are just there and saying, I just have the longing to help other people. The other leg out and we're bending it again at the knee. Activities you can do as a volunteer include: you can work with animals. For example, caring for animals at a local rescue shelter. So there are rescue shelters, there are animals which other people didn't like anymore, which people took and weren't able to take care of, or also some which can't just do it anymore because they maybe even died or so. So there are rescue shelters for animals. And there are people working, and a person can sign up and say, that would be something for me. I could there help the animals to have at least a part-time home, maybe we're getting it on. I can help every animals. So that is one thing people can volunteer to do. Youth work, for example, volunteering at a youth group. So you can volunteer at a youth group. You can helping improve the environment, for example, participating in the litter pickup in the local area. So you can go around and pick up litter. I call it rubbish. I don't really know what litter is. And you can working with a homeless in, for example, a homelessness shelter. Now the next exercise, the hammerhead shark. We're having a bent knee with a flexed foot and we're bringing it up and again down. So there are also some people who don't have a home, and they have a homelessness shelter, and people can work there voluntarily. Mentoring, for example, supporting someone who has just came out of prison. So people, if they're coming out of prison, it's sometimes a bit difficult to find back into the full normal life. Maybe the work could have been already done while they are in prison. But yes, mentoring, for example, supporting someone who has just came out of prison. But it's voluntarily, and maybe for some people that sounds a bit harsh. This is maybe for people who have not done the worst crimes. Work in health and hospitals. For example, working on an information desk in a hospital. So if you want, you can try to get a volunteer job in a hospital, and there you can work at the information desk. You seem to not get the big saw and do a thing in the surgical room, but you can get to the information desk in a hospital, and they also keep the whole business running. You are checking the people in, and you are doing all the dates and so on. So you can work in a hospital, changing the leg. Helping other people at, for example, a residential care home. Helping older people, not older. And for example, a residential care home. So some older people also need help, because aging affects basically all parts of the human body, and now not all people can even walk that good anymore, or so maybe you can help them to go to a supermarket or so. Or you can also then help directly at the residential care home. Voluntary organizations work to improve the lives of people, animals, and the environment in many different ways. And we're having here the most glorious one. There are thousands of active charities. They said something at one place about 60,000 National Trust workers. So it can be also possible to work at the National Trust to look that all the parks are beautiful. So not just rubbish picking, but also that the castles are beautiful, or an old wall. Next exercise, we're having the leg in the air, bring it to the outside and again in. There are thousands of active charities and voluntary organizations in the UK. They work to improve the lives of people, animals, and the environment in many different ways. They range from the British branches of international organizations, such as the British Red Cross, to small local charities working in particular areas. They include charities working with older people, such as Age UK, with children, for example, the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, NSPCC, and with the homeless, for example, Crisis and Shelter. Next leg, we've changed leg. There are also medical research charities, for example, Cancer Research UK, environmental charities, including the National Trust and Friends of the Earth, and charities working with animals, such as the People's Dispensary for sick animals. What is a dispensary? Maybe it's dispensary, such as the People's Dispensary for Sick Animals. So there are many different ways. For example, they are also ranged from the British branches of international organizations. Have so many different things. For example, the British Red Cross, so to help people medically, to small local charities, including in particular areas. And there's, for example, for older people, Age UK, or for children, the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, or the homeless, for example, Crisis and Shelter, and also Cancer Research UK, and National Trust and Friends of the Earth, and working with animals, the People's Dispensary for Sick Animals. So many different types of working, and I think the National Trust must be something also listed. And we're doing the last exercise of this kind. We're having a long leg out with pointing on the floor. We're going to be outside and pointing again on the floor. Volunteers are needed to help with their activities and to raise money. Where charities often advertise in local newspapers and most have websites that include information about the opportunities. You can also get information about volunteering for different organizations from https://doit.live/volunteer. So volunteers are needed to help with the activities and to raise money. And there are advertisements in local newspapers and most have websites. So you can also find maybe an advertisement in a local newspaper and writing, we need people helping sick animals. And many have also a website. There are many opportunities for younger people to volunteer and receive accreditation, which will help them to develop their skills. We're changing the leg. These include the National Citizen Service Program, which gives 16 and 17-year-old the opportunity to enjoy outdoor activities, develop their skills and take part in a community project. You can find out more about these opportunities as follows. National Citizen Service at https://wercs.com, England at www.winspire.com, Wales at https://volunteering-wales.net, Scotland at www.volunteerscotland.net, and Northern Ireland at www.volunteernow.co.uk. Okay, there are many opportunities for younger people to volunteer and to receive accreditation, which will help them to develop their skills. But it's not every young person is without skills. There's, for example, the National Citizen Service Program for 16 and 17 years old to have the opportunity to enjoy outdoor activities, to develop their skills and take part in a community project. The last exercise, we're going to start with a 3.5 minutes blank in 6 seconds. Let's do it. Be rather too high with the back than too low, and tuck the tailbone in. So we're through with that part, which was other ways to volunteer if you are just here for looking after the environment. But you can go directly to the next part. We will not do anything new anymore right now. We had Kew Gardens and Sissinghurst as examples of great gardens in reality. And then now we're trying to learn hit code. Hit code. Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, and hit code. Hit code. Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, and hit code. And when we could try to list the movies again. It's time to do it now. For the learning process. So the first one was 39 steps, 1935. So Alfred Hitchcock with 39 steps. So Alfred Hitchcock 1935. And when there was in 1949, Brief Encounter by Sir David Lean. And then in 1954, The Bells of St. Trinians. I skipped one. The Bells of St. Trinians, that was Carol Reed. No, Frank Launder. The Third Man was Carol Reed. So The Bells of St. Trinians was 1954. It was 1949. 1945. Brief Encounters 1945. 1949 is The Third Man, Carol Reed. And 1954, The Bells of St. Trinians, Frank Launder. And then 1962, Lawrence of Arabia, Sir David Lean. 1969, Woman in Love, Ken Russell. 1973, Don't Look Now, Nicholas Roeg. 1981, Chariots of Fire, Hugh Hudson. Also, and then It's 3.5 minutes. The Killing Fields. John and Jeff. And Mike Newell. 1994 for the Earnings at a Funeral and Touching the Void. 2003 Kevin McDonald. We will maybe repeat it, but it's quite okay. I thank you very much and until next time.